anyone who lets themselves be used to stain the reputation of a member of the community of Israel by looking for the opportunity to slander them concerning any immoral or unnatural matter is guilty of the disgusting sin of idolatry, and Jehovah their God will not receive their sacrifice. So if any immoral thought or emotion or unnatural act that transgresses the covenant that Jehovah your God gave to Israel be found concerning any man or woman, and they have lusted for Sophia the moon goddess, and gone and bowed down to her and to Tammuz her son, or lusted for any of the form of the other gods and goddesses that exist in the spiritual world above this material world, and labored for all those other gods which I have not commanded you to do. And if it is obvious to you that after inquiring with a good motive and understanding the facts intelligently with your righteous mind, that the evidence that you have uncovered is true, that the disgusting thing was done in Israel, then in that event, the man that desired the woman who is his spiritual mate more than God, the mate that had the immoral and unnatural thoughts or desires, that man who lusted for the spiritual woman who is his mate more than God, shall go into the spiritual dimension of his soul and stone the spiritual woman who is his mate with stones until the spiritual woman that is his mate dies. And if Moses, the law, and Christ, Abraham's seed, the two female witnesses, say that the man should be killed because of the immoral thoughts that the spiritual woman who is his mate put in his mind and emotions, or the unnatural acts that he has done, that man should not die, unless the Father and righteous Adam in heaven and young Adam, the messenger in the earth, the three male witnesses unanimously witness that he has not killed the spiritual woman who put those immoral thoughts in his mind and emotions which led him to commit those unclean acts. Then in that event, the unified mind of the three witnesses to the immoral thoughts and unnatural acts within all the people, whose mind is in the left side of their heart center, shall burn the immoral woman who lusted for unnatural acts with fire, and she shall die. So when you have to make a judicial decision that requires you to discern the difference between the blood that is shed when a murder is committed and the blood that is shed as a result of manslaughter, and between a motive that benefited the guilty party and a motive of self-defense, and whether there was permanent damage or damage that could be repaired, and you go to a priest, a descendant of Levi, and to the judge that exists in those days, who has the authority to vindicate or punish the accused, and ask that he reveal the appropriate verdict to you, and then do whatever the priest who is instructed by the judge from above tells you to do, and you oppose the first Adam, the part of you that is separated from God, and choose to guard the whole Adam, which is the instruction that Jehovah delivered to you by the Spirit, let your heart be influenced by the spiritual speech that comes from above, and let your judicial decisions be influenced by the spiritual understanding of the law that comes from above, and do not turn away from speaking the truth about an immoral issue that exists within your mind or emotions, or an unnatural act that you have done, but let your righteous side stand boldly opposite the immoral thoughts and unnatural behavior of the first Adam, the spiritual woman that you are married to. Because the arrogant man who has immoral thoughts and engages in the unnatural behavior of the first Adam lacks the intelligent mind of God that understands the ministry of the priest who stands in front of the Shekinah, the God who was Jehovah's mate, who desires to vindicate him, so he shall die when he is cast into the lake that burns with fire. But all the people who revere God shall have the intelligent mind of God that understands the ministry of the priest who stands in front of the Shekinah, and they shall resist the immoral thoughts and emotions of the first Adam and not engage in his unnatural acts anymore. But when you come into the land that Jehovah your God shall give you to possess and live in, the spiritual woman who is your mate shall say to you, I will set a king over you from all the nations that surround you. But you shall set a king over yourself, and you shall set a king over the spiritual woman in your heart center, that Jehovah your God shall choose from among your brethren. You shall not give a stranger that does not resemble you power over you by making him your king. And the king that Jehovah selects shall not increase the people of Judah, Jehovah's made, into spiritual male war horses that do not, while not also developing the mind of God in them. Because increasing Judah into spiritual male war horses without developing the conscience of God in them will turn them back to Egypt, when Jehovah said, "This people belongs to me, and they shall continue in my lifestyle and not return to the Egyptian lifestyle anymore. Neither shall they increase the women that belong to them, nor greatly increase the money and commodities that belong to them, so that they do not return to Egypt in their heart. And it shall come to pass that the Messiah of Jehovah your King shall sit upon the throne of your heart, and shall write a copy of this law in the heart of the Israelites who are his mate, so that their personalities reflect the personality of the Levite priests. And it shall come to pass that Jehovah your God shall teach Israel his mate to morally revere him, and Israel his mate shall guard all the words of this law, and these decrees to do them. And it shall come to pass that they shall call out to Jehovah their God all the days of their lives, with respect to prolonging their days in the kingdom of Israel, unless the animal side of his brethren rises up against the spiritual seed in their heart center, and they turn away from the right path of following the commandments to the dark side." So the promise of Deuteronomy 17 is continuous communication with God, brethren, which is eternal life.